I remember the moment I realized everything I believed in was a lie. It was just past noon, and I was kneeling on the nursery floor, changing our toddler's diaper, humming the same lullaby I sang every day. My hands reached into the diaper bag for a spare wipe, and that's when I saw it. Two hotel key cards. One belonged to the recovery hotel where Jason stayed after his kidney surgery. The other had the initials TM scrawled on it. The nurse who had cared for him joked with me, smiled at our child, the woman I trusted more than anyone outside my family. I froze. My stomach sank, my hands trembled, and the nursery, the sunlight spilling across the floor, the soft coos of my baby, it all blurred. I, Emily Carter, had given my husband Jason everything: my body, my time, my blood, my very soul. And he had used the opportunity I gave him to betray me. I stared at the key cards like they were knives. A calendar alert on my phone lit up the screen. Follow up with TM, 7 p.m., Parkview Suites. Every memory of the past year, the long nights I sat with him while he recovered, the days I juggled therapy, toddler tantrums, and exhaustion. I felt it twist into something sharp and hollow in my chest. I wanted to scream. I wanted to throw the keycards across the room. I wanted to shake him until he begged for mercy. But I didn't. I sat there cradling my child, feeling the weight of betrayal pressing down on me like a stone I could never lift. I realized then, even as my tears fell silently, that my story wasn't over. I couldn't undo what he had done. But I could make him pay. I could rise, and I would. The week before this discovery had seemed normal. Jason had returned from his follow-ups, smiled at me, kissed our toddler's head. But tiny things had been off. The long private calls, the faint perfume, the distracted glances when I entered the room. I had brushed them off. I was recovering from surgery. I was exhausted. I wanted to believe in him. The hospital had been terrifying. Jason had been in danger of losing his life. I was terrified of losing him, and yet terrified of what I was about to give. I, Emily Carter, agreed to donate my kidney to my husband. The moment they told me I was a match, I didn't hesitate. I thought of our toddler, the life we promised, the future we were supposed to have, and I signed the papers. Weeks leading up to surgery were brutal. I remember the sleepless nights, pacing our apartment with Jason in bed, wondering if this decision would kill me as much as it would save him. The hospital smelled of antiseptic and fear. Machines beeped constantly. Nurses came and went, masks hiding their expressions. But I could feel the tension in the air. TM, the nurse, was there the day of surgery. She smiled at me, held my toddler while I tried to rest, reassured Jason in ways I couldn't. I trusted her. I believed she was part of the miracle that kept our little family alive. Surgery day arrived. I held Jason's hand as they wheeled him away first. "I'll be right behind you," I whispered, forcing bravery I didn't feel. Hours later, I woke, weak, drained, my body aching. But he was alive. I cried when I saw him. He cried too. "I'll spend the rest of my life making this up to you," he said. I wanted to believe him. I needed to. I thought love was enough to carry us through. Recovery was harder than I expected. My body screamed, my energy was gone, and the toddler refused to sleep through the night. I had to feed, clean, comfort, all while my own wounds throbbed. Jason helped when he could, but he seemed distant. His appointments grew longer, calls went private, his phone buzzed constantly, and there it was again, the faint scent of perfume on his jacket, the little things that didn't fit the picture of a man recovering from major surgery. I told myself, he's stressed. He survived a life-threatening illness. I wanted to trust him. I needed to trust him. But deep down, a tiny voice whispered, "Something is off." I ignored it. Until the nursery floor, 2 key cards, and the calendar alert brought that whisper screaming to life. Sitting there, holding our toddler, staring at those key cards, I felt every moment of sacrifice, every sleepless night, every ounce of love I had given him, twist into something unbearable. I thought of the surgeries, the risks, the months of recovery, the constant worry, and the trust I had placed not just in Jason, but in the people around him. And I realized that trust had been weaponized against me. The betrayal cut deeper than anything I had imagined. But even in that moment, a fire lit within me. I couldn't erase what had happened. I couldn't fix him. But I could survive. I could rise, and I would make him feel every ounce of what he had thrown away. After that day on the nursery floor, I couldn't think straight. I couldn't sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw the hotel key cards, the initials TM, and Jason's calm face smiling at me, pretending nothing had changed. I decided I had to know the truth, not just suspect it, not just imagine it. I had to see it with my own eyes. The first step was small. I started paying attention to his schedule. Every time he said he had an appointment, I noted the time, the location, the duration. I checked his messages when he left his phone unattended, glanced at emails, receipts, even the Uber notifications he thought I wouldn't see. And slowly, it all started to line up. The trips he claimed were checkups coincided with hotel reservations. The work meetings ended at the Parkview Suites, the very hotel listed on the keycard. The perfume, the private phone calls, everything. I watched him for weeks. I watched him leave the house, pretending to go to the doctor. I watched him smile at me, brush past me, while I knew exactly where he was going. I felt rage, despair, and disbelief all at once. It wasn't just the keycards anymore. It was the betrayal itself. Jason had used the very life I had given him to cheat on me, to lie to me, to hide everything in plain sight. I started to piece it together. The nurse who had comforted me, held my toddler, reassured us. It wasn't just kindness. It was a front for whatever he was doing behind my back. And then came the texts. I found them accidentally, hidden behind the notifications he thought I would never see. Short messages, flirtatious, casual, terrifying in their normalcy. Missed you today. Can't wait to see you tonight. I know we can't be caught, but it's worth it. I felt sick. I had carried him through surgery, through recovery, through months of my own pain and exhaustion. And this was the thanks I got? Every interaction he had with me became a lie. Every smile, every whispered, I love you, every promise, fake. I started recording details. Dates, times, conversations, evidence, proof. Not for the sake of revenge yet, not even for confrontation. But so I could see clearly. So I could breathe again. I remember the night I first decided to confront him. I sat on the couch, toddler asleep, keycards in my hand, heart hammering. I wanted to scream, to break something, to let him feel even a fraction of what I was feeling. But I didn't. Instead, I wrote down everything. Every suspicious appointment, every hidden text, every smell, every detail. I felt calmer, more collected. I needed to be careful. If I confronted him without proof, he would deny everything. He would twist it, make me look paranoid, make me doubt myself. I spent the next few days watching him more closely. Every lie he told was another piece of the puzzle. I noted the little things, the way he avoided my gaze, the way he lingered over messages on his phone, the way he suddenly needed time for himself after work. All the pieces were fitting together. One evening, I followed him. I told myself it was for clarity, for truth. He drove casually, like nothing was wrong. He parked at a hotel, one I hadn't visited in months. I watched him go inside. And then TM came out smiling at him, carrying his coat. My stomach turned. Everything I had feared was real. The nurse, the hotel, the secrecy, everything. I went home that night and sat with my toddler. I hugged him tighter than ever, telling myself that my baby needed me to stay strong. I cried silently, letting anger and heartbreak pour into the quiet apartment. I vowed then that nothing would destroy us. The next day, I started planning. I wasn't sure what I would do, but I knew one thing. I wouldn't just let this happen. I wouldn't allow him to get away with betraying everything I gave him. I gathered more proof, credit card receipts for hotel rooms, messages I could screenshot, phone call logs. Even a few times, I pretended to be busy while taking snapshots of his calendar, emails, and hidden reminders. The evidence was overwhelming. I couldn't ignore it anymore. And yet, every time I looked at him, Jason smiled as if nothing had happened. He sat next to me while I prepared meals, played with our toddler, made jokes, and acted like a perfect husband. All the while, I knew the truth. I knew where he had been, who he had been with, what he had been doing. The betrayal wasn't just emotional, it was physical. It was intentional. It was cruel. And I realized something terrifying. I had trusted him completely. I had given him my body, my blood, my life, and he had used it against me. For the first time, I allowed myself to imagine confrontation. Not screaming, not panic, not chaos. A calculated, precise confrontation. I would have the proof. I would have the control. And I would make him see what he had lost. I imagined the conversation over and over. The shock on his face. The denial he would try. The guilt I would force him to feel. I also imagined something darker. The satisfaction of knowing I had survived. The knowledge that betrayal doesn't go unpunished. That the one who thinks they hold the power doesn't always get to keep it. Every day after that, I felt stronger. More alert. More ready. Jason still didn't know I knew everything. He still thought his secret was safe, and that made me smile quietly to myself. The betrayal had shattered trust, but it had awakened a fire in me I didn't know existed. I had given life, and he had taken it for granted. But now I was awake. I was ready. And the story was far from over. I had the proof, every single detail, every lie, every secret, every moment Jason had betrayed me. And yet I waited. Not out of weakness, but out of strategy. Patience had become my weapon. I needed the right moment, one where every piece of evidence would hit him like a tidal wave. The day finally arrived. Jason came home from work, smiling, pretending like nothing had changed. I had our toddler playing in the living room, innocently unaware of the storm about to unfold. I greeted him casually. "Hey, Jason, how was your day?" He shrugged, glanced at me, and smiled. "Same as always. You?" I walked past him slowly, my eyes cold, my hands trembling just enough to show control rather than panic. I set down the diaper bag. Inside it, carefully arranged, were the hotel receipts, screenshots of his messages, call logs, everything. He noticed me staring at him. "What's that look for?" he asked, voice light, pretending innocence. I took a deep breath. "Do you really want me to say it, Jason? Or do you want me to show you?" His smile faltered. I held up the receipts first. The dates matched the hotel keycards. Every appointment, every lie, every night he told me he was at the hospital was in fact with TM. He stammered. "Emily," I cut him off. "No, you don't get to explain. I saved your life, Jason. I carried you through surgery. I bled, I hurt, I healed, and this is how you repay me?" His face went pale. I pulled out my phone, showing him the text messages. "Missed you today. Can't wait to see you tonight. I know we can't be caught, but it's worth it." His hands shook. He opened his mouth to speak, but I wasn't done. I went through the calendar reminders, the Uber notifications, the photos I had captured, everything meticulously collected over weeks. Each piece was a hammer striking at the facade of our marriage. "Do you see it now?" I whispered, my voice low but steady. "Do you see what you've done?" He tried to lie, to deny, to deflect. "Emily, it's not what you think. I shook my head. "Stop, just stop. I trusted you with everything, and every single day you were living a lie. Every single day you were cheating, hiding, laughing at me behind my back. And now you're going to face the consequences." He looked at me like I had gone insane. But I wasn't insane. I was calm. I was in control. I had thought long and hard about what I wanted him to feel. I didn't want to fight. I didn't want tears or begging. I wanted him to feel the weight of betrayal, to see clearly the consequences of his choices. I started making calls, not angry calls, not impulsive ones. Professional, precise calls. To his workplace, to the people involved, to the authorities that could verify his behavior. He realized I wasn't bluffing when his phone rang, and the first text alert popped up. "Emily has shared details of your actions with HR." His face went white. He began to sweat, and I watched calmly, holding our toddler in my arms, letting him feel the first taste of panic he had so carelessly inflicted on me. I didn't stop there. I arranged for the hotel management to provide proof of his stays. I sent emails with timestamps of messages, photos, and everything neatly organized. By the time I was done, Jason sat on the couch, pale, shaking, utterly defeated. All his excuses evaporated in the face of undeniable proof. The man who had once thought he could hide, cheat, and lie had nowhere to run. I sat across from him, holding our toddler on my lap, and looked him straight in the eye. "Do you understand now? Do you see what you've thrown away? Everything I gave you, everything I did for you, gone. And it was never mine to keep. It was yours to honor. But you didn't, and now you will live with this knowledge for the rest of your life." He couldn't speak. He could barely nod. The fear, the shock, the shame, all of it mirrored the pain I had carried for months. I felt a strange calm, not relief, not satisfaction, but justice. I didn't need to yell. I didn't need to cry. I didn't need revenge in violence. I needed him to see clearly, to feel clearly, the cost of betrayal. I gave him a final warning. "You will not touch our child inappropriately, you will not lie to me again, and you will not think you can manipulate your way out of what you've done. I am done being silent. I am done being naive. And if you ever try, I will make sure everyone knows exactly who you are." He nodded, defeated, finally understanding that the power he thought he held was gone. I held my toddler tighter, and for the first time in weeks, I felt peace. Because I survived. Because I protected my child. Because betrayal had awakened something in me I never knew existed. And as he sat there, realizing his life had changed forever, I allowed myself a small, satisfied smile. Not cruel, not petty, just the quiet strength of someone who refuses to be broken. Months later, Jason moved out. He found himself isolated, shunned, and confronted at every step by the consequences of his own actions. And I thrived. I rebuilt our home, our routines, and our lives. I strengthened the bond with my child. I healed the scars he thought he had inflicted forever. The betrayal was real. The pain was real. But so was my strength. I had given life, and I had survived betrayal. I had lost trust, but I had gained power. And in the end, that was worth more than any apology, any regret, any fleeting affection he thought he could steal. I learned that true strength isn't in revenge, isn't in anger, isn't in trying to make someone suffer. It's in surviving. It's in rising. It's in reclaiming your life when someone else tried to take it from you. And as I watched Jason disappear from our home, powerless, I whispered to myself, this is my life, my child, my world, and nothing he does will ever take that from me again.